Hello, this is Daniel Robbins, and I don't know if anyone was affected by the fact that it took me this long to go live, but if you were, feel free to let me know, and if you want an apology for that, then I'll give it. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and go live now and make up for lost time because I know I kind of said I was going to go live, and here I am. As a matter of fact, I would like to take a look outside and show you what's going on here in Calgary, Alberta. Something pretty exciting, in my opinion. By no means the first time it's happened, but there's a sunset. And if I could ask you to, I would ask you to see it through new eyes. Namely, eyes that have been enlightened by the fact that the reason there's that sunset is, as I was saying, the law of inverse square. As a light source moves farther and farther away, eventually it becomes invisible, and that is exactly what we're seeing over my shoulder. And let's see how long it takes before you see nothing at all. I also note when you're watching a sunrise or a sunset, again, there's a glow where either the sun is going to rise or where the sun has set. And in my opinion, that totally proves a local sun. But I will admit one thing. It really helps when you want to believe something. If you don't want to believe something, how in the world are you ever going to believe it? So I want to give a challenge. Let's want to believe what we should. And when we don't want to believe the truth, then the truth does us no good. But if you can find it in yourself to want to believe the truth, you'll be a whole lot more likely to believe it. And personally, I really want that. I really want to believe the truth. Now, just in all fairness, though, a couple days ago I was on YouTube and there was this video that came across my path about UFOs. In fact, I saw more than one, and I actually managed to watch them. Why? To keep an open mind. But I wasn't really excited about them. I'm not. I hate it. I hate aliens and I hate UFOs. I'm not saying they don't exist. I even have to say apparently they do. And am I allowed to say unfortunately? Because they're not my cup of tea. So what I don't want is for people to feel overwhelmed to the point where they feel discouraged and burdened. So my exhortation would be, take in as much as you can. And if it ever stops to be a blessing, if it ever stops being a blessing and it's overwhelming and more trouble than it's worth, well, go to bed and pray and ask God to take care of things and leave them in his capable hands. I love the fact that God overrules. And you want a case in point of that? Stupid chemtrails. They annoy me, but I love the fact that life does go on in spite of them. It's just really stupid for them to be deliberately poisoning us. I even wish I could say they weren't happening. But people who know more than I do have said that chemtrails are one downright sinister reality, at least for now, until we can get our hands on the people that are doing them and put a stop. But that doesn't mean we can't enjoy our lives. In fact, excuse me while I read Psalm 37. Now, I don't know if anyone's watching me right now. So excuse me while I get onto Facebook. Just make sure people know what's going on here. Because again, I said I was going to go live quite a while ago. And what happened was I came home in time to go live at the appointed time, and I lay down and I slept longer than I planned. So I certainly had a good rest. Oh, Dad. Let me just see here. So let's see if this works. Just nice to know if anyone's watching. By the way, if you're watching me and I don't realize it, feel free to let me know. Because as far as I can see, nobody's tuned in quite yet. Just try the link. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and read Psalm 37. Because when I mention chemtrails, it can be a little frustrating, to be honest. I'm just grieved that they could do something so ridiculously silly and stupid as chemtrails. But, and by the way, you may not, if you don't know what chemtrails are, it's deliberately poisoning us with those stupid jets, the trails from jets. Right along with vaccinations. I know a lot of you don't like the fact that vaccinations are evil. I don't like it either. Believe me. If there was some way to make those silly vaccinations go away, well, and I look forward to the day when I finally can just put an end to them. God willing, of course. All right, so I'm just going to share this here. So here goes Psalm 37, as soon as I can find it. A Psalm of David. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in Yahweh and do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in Yahweh, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto Yahweh, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Let's go take a look at that sunset again. Okay, so that's interesting. Just to take note of what that looks like, so I can definitely see how the light is falling off as the sun moves away from us. And let me add the word personally. I know some people would say that that's due to the rotation of the earth, but I don't believe in that anymore, and I don't recommend you do either. It's up to you what you're going to believe. But convincing so much of the world that we were living on a spinning spherical planet was actually quite a sinister joke, and I sure am not participating in that. I'll call a jailbreak to anyone with ears to hear it. So again, commit thy way unto the Lord, or Yahweh, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. And he shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in Yahweh, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because of the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. Cease from anger, and forsake wrath. Fret not thyself in any wise to do evil. I need that verse. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those that wait upon Yahweh, they shall inherit the earth. For yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. The wicked, the wicked. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth his teeth. Gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The wicked plotteth against the just, and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. The Lord, or Adonai, shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day is coming. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the abundance of many wicked. For the arms of the wicked shall be broken, but Yahweh upholdeth the righteous. The Lord, or Yahweh, knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of Yahweh shall be as the fat of lambs. They shall consume, and to smoke shall they consume away. The wicked borroweth and payeth not again, but the righteous showeth mercy and giveth. For such as be blessed of him shall inherit the earth, and those that be cursed of him shall be cut off. The steps of a good man are ordered by Yahweh, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for Yahweh upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. He is ever merciful and lendeth, and his seed is blessed. Depart from evil and do good, and dwell for evermore. For Yahweh loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. Let's go take another look outside and see what that sunlight looks like now. Again, at least in my opinion, just a classic case in point of the inverse square law. In fact, you can just very faintly see any kind of light on the horizon now. By the way, what do you get when you take the word horizon and add the letters TAL to it? Again, the word horizon, and then you tack on the letters TAL, you get the word horizontal or horizontal. So again, horizon, horizontal, flat. Depart, so again, verse 37, depart from evil and do good, and dwell forevermore. For Yahweh loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land, and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of his God is in his heart. None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous, and seeketh to slay him. Yahweh will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on Yahweh, and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power, and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yea, I sought him, but he could not be found. Mark, the perfect man, and behold, the upright. For the end of that man is peace. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together, the end of the wicked shall be cut off. But the salvation of the righteous is of Yahweh. He is their strength in the time of trouble. And Yahweh shall help them and deliver them. He shall deliver them from the wicked and save them, because they trust in him. So I'd like to take another look at sunset, and let's see just how dark it is now. Can you make out any light there? I can definitely see some light with my eyes, and I think with the camera I can pick up just a little wee bit of light. But you see how distance is it's the reason for the sunset. In my opinion, the sun is moving away from us, and that's why we see that sunset, and it goes dark because it's so far away that it's no longer visible. And again, that law of inverse square states that the further a light source moves away from you, or you move away from a light source, the darker it's going to get. In fact, let's experience our own sunset. I just thought of this. So look at this light over my shoulder. How many steps do we have to take before we get sunset? Ready? Let's count off the steps here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Going upstairs now. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Can you see any light now? Because there is still that light on downstairs. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. It's just that we moved far enough away from it that you couldn't see it. Now let's have our own little sunrise, sort of. Let's simulate a sunrise, all right? So can you see any light as I come down the stairs? And we have sunrise. And we can simulate noon. That's when the light is overhead. And again, of course, that is in my opinion, but I certainly pray that more and more people will adopt that opinion, because there's a reason why I hold to that opinion. It's because I acquired some new information that I hadn't had before, and that empowered me to change my mind. Now, last night I was at Anytime Fitness, and I met someone, a Muslim, by the way. We compared notes. I didn't tell him he had to become a Christian. He didn't tell me I had to become a Muslim. I wasn't going to do it, and he wasn't going to do it. And I'm okay with that. But I sure told him that I think there's a problem with the doctrine of eternal conscious torment, or hell. Because I don't think there's any coincidence that Christians believe that non-Christians go to hell, and then Muslims think that non-Muslims go to hell, and Sikhs believe that non-Sikhs go to hell. And I think it's ridiculous. And we need to smarten up and grow up and set a better example. See, I think one of the reasons Islam teaches hell is that Christianity taught hell. And, they think that a child, any baby that's born in the world, is automatically born a Muslim. And it's just a matter of whether or not you deviate from being that Muslim that you were when you were born. So I told him, well, Augustine sure didn't think that babies were born Christians. In fact, he didn't believe in any kind of age of accountability. He just thought if you were a baby, unbaptized, you went to hell. And I'll tell you that as well. Who was Augustine? Somebody in the 4th century AD who laid the intellectual foundation for Christianity as we know it. And I'm sure he meant well, but, by the way, something I'm going to mention here. Did you know that Augustine believed in the doctrine of mitigation? So he thought that everybody had some good in him, even Judas. Judas had helped some guy during his lifetime, so one day a year he got a day off from his suffering in hell. Have you ever heard that? I doubt you have. Now, another thing, I think he believed, Augustine. If it wasn't Augustine, some of the church leaders, they believed in the doctrine of reserve, where they don't actually believe what they're teaching to the silly sheep, but they think, the sheep need it, just to keep them in line. It's not true, but I'm teaching it anyway because the sheep just need to be corralled. So, and I think there are a lot of people who actually have their own version of the doctrine of reserve, where they teach and preach hell, even though they don't personally know how to stomach it. Nobody can stomach hell. I'm taking aim at hell because it's a problem. It's not helping people. and I want people helped. I want people saved from their personal sins. Yeshua HaMashiach, or Jesus Christ, came to save people from their personal sins, and so help me God. I will not stand idly by while people preach and teach hell, which doesn't help people to be saved from their personal sins. It just offends them. And it's supposed to be scriptural, but if you read the Bible from Genesis 1 onward, see how far you have to read before you even see the word hell in your Bible, even in the King James. What does that tell us? In my opinion, it tells us we must be born again. So I've had to be born again in terms of the doctrine of eternal conscious torment or hell. And I certainly am thankful to say that I was born again in terms of my understanding of the shape of the earth. By the way, the story behind that is came back from South Korea in 2007. And I met someone who, and we were comparing notes on various conspiracies. I don't use the phrase conspiracy theory when I'm dealing with an actual conspiracy. So the conspiracy of 9/11 and how they deliberately destroyed those buildings. I'm still learning about that though. But then the guy said he didn't think that we had been to the moon. And I wasn't really all that excited about that conspiracy. Back then, I would have called it a theory. But the guy did say, you know, he didn't really buy the notion that we had been to the moon ever and yet hadn't been back since 1972. So I remember going home and I decided, well, if I'm going to look into this theory, as I would have called it then, I knew I was going to look into it my way, which is I want to know how I know the truth. And so that meant that I was going to do my own research. And you know what I did is I looked for the NASA website. I went to the NASA website, found pictures of them supposedly on the moon, found a 360-degree one. I wonder if that thing's still there. I went looking for it the other day and I can't say I could find it. So maybe it's still there. I just don't know where it is, if it's there. But back then, there was the 360-degree picture where you could pan all the way around. I did. And I saw the quote-unquote sun. In other words, the spotlight. It was so obviously a spotlight, and other people were kind enough to come along and actually do a computer analysis of that spotlight and prove that it was a spotlight because you could see the burn marks of the light. So as soon as I saw that, I did know something was definitely up. I digged into it, and sure enough, I was able to confirm, yeah, it was fake. It was made up. And more recently, I found out that there were still flat earthers. I said, you know, but what about the fact that you can travel east, continue to travel east until you come around the other side? Doesn't that prove a globe? I was told that, oh, that's easy. Flat earthers believe the earth is a flat circle. And up in Three Hills, I was talking to this one guy who was into all sorts of conspiracies, one of them being the JFK assassination. That's a weird conspiracy. It's just as weird as can be. God knows what happened. It was definitely sinister, whatever it was that actually happened. But he brought up the flat Earth, and I wasn't too excited about it. But he said, well, the United Nations flag is a flat Earth map. I wasn't aware of that. And they said out in space, they never take the camera and pan from the Earth and then showing you the stars, which they don't. And that's true. So I remember just doing a search on flat Earth, and I found the Flat Earth Society. And that was about as far as I got. And I now understand that to be by design, because months later, when I had some more time to spend on this, my brother said he was had a friend, Jason Filippo, and he had been looking into some stuff. And I heard about the firmament. I was asked what the firmament was. I thought it was just the atmosphere. And I was asked about Antarctica. So I remember coming home and just deciding, well, I'm going to look into Antarctica. So I went to Google Maps, put it on satellite view, zoomed out, dragged down to the bottom of the supposed globe, and zoomed right into the middle of Antarctica. And you know what I saw? A big, huge black hole, several miles in diameter. And as soon as I saw that, I knew I had to look into it more. Now, I invite you to do what I did. Go to Google Maps if you want, put it on satellite, zoom out, pan down to Antarctica, and see how far you can go. Because you will not be able to pan as far as I panned in the 8th month of this year, August. You can no longer do that, and it looks significantly different. They've pretty much overhauled it since then. So and then I did a search flat Earth firmament. That made all the difference. I found all sorts of great resources. So if you're searching flat Earth and that's all you put in, you're gonna find the truth buried beneath a lot of attempts to dissuade you from it. But if you go flat Earth firmament, you'll find a lot more resources. You still might have to wade through a lot of deceit, in my opinion. But that's a little bit of my experience in Psalm 37, and well, I don't know if anyone's tuned in, but you know, I'm gonna leave it at that for tonight, and pray that God will bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you, lift up His countenance upon you, and give you peace.